Okay, let's dive right in. We are about to piece together what is essentially a 19th century psychological thriller, and we're going to do it using nothing but a handful of old archival documents. This is a pretty wild story of divorce, public scandal, and a very, very dark kind of justice.
Our story starts with just an absolutely shocking statement. It was made in public, by a man, to the wife he had just divorced. He is basically telling her that she should be thankful he was violent. What on earth could he possibly mean by that?
So to get to the bottom of this, we're heading back in time to the French Riviera, November 1884. Our first clue, our first piece of evidence, actually comes from the society pages of a local newspaper, which just happened to capture a very public and very, very tense reunion. I want you to just picture this scene for a second. A fancy hotel promenade. M. de Garelle sees his recently divorced wife, who, by the way, has already remarried. She tries to get away from him, but he completely blocks her path. But he doesn't threaten her. Instead, he says this really bizarre thing, basically telling her she has nothing to worry about from him.
Okay, and this is where it gets really weird. Look at his justification. He completely reframes his own act of domestic violence. You know, the very thing that legally ended their marriage, he reframes it as some kind of favor, a rude service, he calls it, that ultimately set her free to go find happiness with somebody else. It's just, wow.
Yeah, as you can probably guess, Madame de Chanteval is just completely stunned by this. For her, this isn't some profound philosophical argument. It's just pure madness. She is not buying this twisted logic for one single second.
So what was this infamy he was talking about back at the beginning? Well, to understand that, we need to rewind the clock a few months and take a look at our second document, a confidential memo from M. de Garelle's very own lawyer in Paris.
The legal file, it's pretty blunt about it. The divorce was granted because of M. de Garelle's emportement, which is just a term for a violent outburst. But the memo also gives us this really crucial piece of context. This violence was fueled by what he called his torture of doubt, this obsessive nagging belief he had that she was cheating on him.
So let's just lay this out so it's super clear. You've got the physical attack, with the riding crop no less, in October. Then, just a few months later in February, the divorce is finalized, and it's in her favor. And then that brings us to this dramatic meetup on the Riviera in November.
But here is where things get really, really interesting. His own lawyer notes that M. de Garelle wasn't even upset about losing the case. In fact, he seemed almost happy about it, showing conspicuous indifference. And why? Because getting the divorce was all he ever wanted. This wasn't a man fighting to save his marriage.
But that whole public explanation he gave her, turns out it was a complete fabrication. Our third document, a private interview with M. de Garelle himself, is about to reveal his true, hidden motive. When he's asked if he's trying to win his ex-wife back, M. de Garelle literally just laughs. No, he wasn't looking for reconciliation. He was looking for something he called justice. But believe me, his idea of justice is something else entirely.
So here it is, laid bare. You've got this stark contrast. Publicly, he's spinning this story that he did her a favor. But in private, he accuses her of theft, of stealing her affection and giving it to another man. And now, he demands secret restitution.
So in this private meeting, he confronts her, and he basically forces her to confess to having an affair during their marriage. And the second she does, he lays out this absolutely chilling proposition. You stole hours of your affection from me, he says, and now you're going to pay them back by becoming my mistress.
His logic is just, wow. It's like a dark transactional form of revenge. He sees it as perfectly balanced, perfectly fair. You know, another man took his wife while they were married, so it's only right that he now gets to take that man's wife in return.
All right, let's jump back to that night at the hotel, because their conversation continues. And here, in our final document, which is actually from the hotel manager's log, M. de Garelle lays out his truly twisted philosophy on love and relationships. Madame de Chanteval, of course, she completely rejects his insane proposal. She draws a really clear moral line for him. Marriage is about love, but taking a mistress, that's an act of pure contempt.
He just completely disagrees. For him, marriage isn't some sacred bond. It's just a fragile little string, something weak that's practically designed to be cut.
And in his mind, an illicit affair, what he calls free love, is way more powerful. It's not a flimsy string, he says, it's a chain, something heavy, binding, something you can't break. You can just feel the possessiveness in that, can't you?
You see what he's doing here? He's not trying to rebuild anything they had. He's telling her, look, I already cut the weak string of our marriage. Now I'm offering you the strong, unbreakable chain of being my secret lover. It's a trap, not a romance.
So, when his weird philosophical arguments don't work on her, his whole attitude just shifts. The persuasion is gone, and what's left is a pure, raw threat. And the hotel manager happens to capture these final, chilling moments.
He tells her flat out he's going to reveal her past affair to her new husband. And just then, in that exact moment, her husband calls her name from across the room. In that split second of panic, M. de Garelle delivers his ultimatum: accept the chain. And she's cornered. She has no way out. She surrenders.
And this last detail from the hotel log, it is maybe the most revealing, most disturbing part of this whole story. His victory isn't about love. It's not even about lust. It's about the dark thrill of possession. He actually finds her more desirable because she now belongs to someone else.
So in the end, he gets exactly what he wants. He doesn't want to be a husband. He wants to be the lover, the one who takes. His entire revenge was just about winning, about proving he could take back what he felt was stolen from him, and he used emotional blackmail as his weapon to do it.
So yeah, in the end, all the documents show us that M. de Garelle got his revanche. He won. But it leaves us with this haunting final question, doesn't it? In a victory like this, one that's built on manipulation and control, what is truly lost in the process?